Hey, how's everybody doing tonight? This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. It is once again Friday. It seems to be Friday is my night. My uncle's trying to keep me out of trouble, keep me in the studio from shopping, but I hope everybody's having a good night across Indian country, enjoying themselves, staying in, getting healthy, doing the yard work, barbecuing, making sure the kids go to school. That's a personal note for me. That's why I had to throw that in there. I just want to make sure all of our parents and our aunts and uncles and our grandparents are really doing their job to make sure our kids are getting on those iPads the tribe provided and making sure that we do our homework, do our due diligence, and educate our kids, not only in our ways, but in the school way too. We can't forget, they've been going to school all their life. We can't our ways mess that up. So I hope everybody's having a good night, man. We have a lot of good people coming on. I wish I could have read all the names, but there's just so many. I got to say hi to my Auntie Marcel, hailing out of the Lummi Nation from the Hilaire Hill. I love you, Auntie. We have a great lineup. It is our way, the Lummi Nation way, that we always open up in prayer and in songs. So I just wanted to, before I go along with the agenda and all that, I want to turn it over to one of my uncle's mentors. You guys have seen me coming out and being able to speak, but I just want to open up with prayer, and I want to turn it over to my uncle at this time and let him introduce himself. Mr. Gene Harry, coming from the van.
Yes, yeah. Merci, Statomste, Hunimux Kmen, say to Menes, A.T. Santer Spray. Oh, oh, yeah. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, I, 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 oh, 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 yeah. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 yeah. Oh, I, 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 you went clit, style namet, squalny tep, ye cochetuch, feet, tacitus coqualowans, the neat we name. Who's the eat ice lachen, could see sa ape to him at the hawkish the case, si eyes could see, sets a water. He might stay at namet to him at the lummy, say to Yokotamastimu, Haichka. First, I'm going to say thank you to each and every one that's going to share some words from the heart to take care of other people's feelings, but most of all to take care of and nurture spirit. Great deal of thanks for Lummi for this beautiful way of connecting, this modern tools that we can get together and help one another. I ask the Creator to hear us as we reach out for the goodness to fill our minds and our hearts. And most of all, the words that are going to be used is going to help someone that's watching, listening. But gratitude to our relatives that we all could sit together and look at each other and give some words to encourage the youth, taking care of the elders, but most of all, grasp all that education you need and also hang on to the best thing in our life was the teachings. And I would say thank you for allowing us to be in this what they call this video world to take care of each other. Merci. Startlam stay, Anamuk snas, command say to manas, A.T. Santa spray, Startlam stay.
We'll be
All
back.
my relations.
We'll be back to you. We'll be back to you in a bit.
ACM, right?
So at this time, I also brought on my cousin Noah Toby, hailing out of the Lummi Nation. There, I wanted to bring him on so he can share his gift. You know, he has his own gift that he shares with his people and his family, and I've called on him many times to come in and do this, to come in and open up with a prayer song. You know, so I hope all of our viewers have an open heart and open mind, and you find this show with a good heart. So at this time, I want to turn it over to my cousin Noah Toby and let him offer up an opening song. Osium.
Hi. Before I get going, I want to introduce myself and who's will be singing along with me. My name's Noah Toby, and this is my younger brother Jermaine Toby. My parents are Jermaine Lee Toby, Senior Carrie Lee Toby, and my grandparents on my dad's side are Burl Tony Toby, Luella Toby, and my grandparents on my mom's side is the late Robert George and Patsy George. And before I get going on my song, I just want to share a little brief introduction about it. This song came to me during one of the hardest times. I lost a good friend, and it brought me strength, and I hope it brings strength to you as well. And it's called Memories. Arshka.
Hey, thanks you. Hey, Maine and Noah. Before you guys go, man, I just had a couple questions in the survey that I have to give you before you sign off. A's. No, but I wanted you to share a little bit. You know, like we're going to hear from some tribal leaders, some real well-known leaders. You know, they've paved the way for a lot of us to be where we're at today and the work that we do today. So I just wanted to hear from you guys. What are some stuff you boys been doing throughout the day? And I seen you guys out on the water. I know you can't give us your honey hole or your hot spot, but what do some young Lummy boys do during this quarantine to stay busy? I know you guys are both fishermen and work with your father and your uncle. So, you know, if you guys want to share a little bit, I guess, you know, it's what are you guys fishing for? You know, what the heck are you guys doing? Why are you launching? A's and that.
Coming from me, it's been a struggle for me. 'Cause, you know, I'm always used to being on the go, but
Yeah.
you know, I've took it as of you know, keeping our family safe is more important than going out and doing things that I would be doing now if this coronavirus wasn't even happening. But for me, I've been just building a boat now, slowly building it, taking it day by day, and you know, keeping my mind busy. You know, there's not really much I can really say. Just keep my mind busy and just give a big thanks to all the healthcare workers that are, you know, out there, you know, providing for our community and providing for the United States, and you know, not very much appreciation that they get, but I just want to appreciate them for, you know, taking care of all the people in need, and yeah, I'm just appreciating all the healthcare workers.
Awesome. What about you, man? What are you fishing for anyways? Shoot, I was trying to get a cod or something for one of my bros, and I couldn't even get your number from Uncle Al. Eh?
Just been out halibut fishing, getting some for the freezer to eat, trolling, blackmouth.
Awesome. You know, when I was probably 25 something years old, and I was fishing in front of the Stomach grounds, and I seen these boys were probably Tobias is younger, probably TJ's age, and they come flying up to pull their boat out on the other side of where I was set out, and come flying up to my net and almost hit my net. Noah was driving, Maine was in the bow, and Uncle Herm was sitting in the back in his chair, and cuz you don't got a light? You don't got a light on your net? I could have ran you over. And I was like, because I was, stop. And he goes, oh, I seen your net. And before I can even blink, Noah goes, hand me that. And Maine had one tied up on the thing, and they're throwing it over. Here, you can use that, because I held on to it for 2 years. I think I'll throw that out there, too. But you got it back, and that. Some good men, though, you know, they're taught by the best, you know, by their father and their uncles. And I'll be back to you, Noah, if you could stick around, man. I might have you share another song, or have Maine do those backflips he used to do. And I seen him doing down there on the yard. But I'll come back to you if you could stick around. We're going to move along on an agenda here. And I was just talking about my young cousins, you know, young men growing up on the res. And, you know, they live a fishing life, and they live a hard work, and you know, one way, the right way. And if you're not going to do it that way, get out of the way. You know, I'm very lucky to be taught by some of their uncles too, and I call them uncle, and they guide me and teach me. So, you know, those kids grow up with lots, with learning how to tie a fishing knot, or even how to build a boat, and to set out and make sure I had my light. You know, that's a big thing, and that's a thing, and I'm pretty sure it goes across Indian country. But here in the Lummi Nation, I can vouch, you know, no fisherman gets left behind. You know, if you're missing something, I'm sure somebody down the dock has it, and they're going to come and help you out. So we have a great agenda, and a lot of people that are visiting us from across Indian country tonight. We're very fortunate and happy to have them in here with us tonight. That's pretty much the topic tonight, is checking in and checking around Indian country. And we have Chairman Foresman coming in from the Suquamish tribe. You know, he's out there on the peninsula. And we got some friends and relatives coming from Navajo country. We got Emerson and Beverly and Nayanyake. I'm going to get that right by the end of the show. I got my good buddy Bo. He's coming from Cheyenne River Reservation. You know, he's been around here in the past, and it's been long work with Children of the Setting Sun production. So we just wanted to check in with the brother and see how it's going over in Cheyenne River country and see how he's doing. And then to follow up, we're going to go over to back to my Uncle Gene Harry and let him also share with, the work he's doing and what he's been doing, and, share with us what we could be doing as youngsters to, possibly work on or to keep us busy with this quarantine going on. It's always good to hear from our elders. So at this time, I do want to welcome our honorable chairman / president from Suquamish. He's also the president of AT&I, the affiliated tribes of Northwest Indians. I have a good story with this guy, Mr. Leonard Foresman. I'm going to let him introduce himself, but me, I always got to relate myself and where I come in, and it's never going to be kettle corner lemonade with me. That's how I relate. I only have my own story, my own way. I pulled out of Lummi at 8, 9 o'clock. I got in, and, I like to pride myself and say it, so I made it there, and the guy assured me I had a spot, and I met this great guy. It wasn't great at the beginning. Mr. Ed, he was out there, and he got me a spot, and we didn't know because I pulled in at 10 at night, 11 at night, and he put me right in the prime spot, right down in the middle. But it come daylight, prime time, grand entry, the canoes. I got a loud air compressor.
Oh, that was you?
Hey, I knew you were going to say that. That was you. So I called Ed over. Our Ed comes over and he goes, "Hey, is it going to be loud like that this whole time?" And I said, "This is where you put me, man. I don't know. I could try to put a box over it." And me and him, like I said, we're bumping heads from the night before. So I was like, "Well, I want to talk to your boss, man. Who are you?" And Mr. Foresman was there looking for solutions, like, "Well, what can we do?" And I was like, "Well, I wanted to talk to Ed's boss. Can you let me know where I could find him?" And he goes, "I'm Mr. Foresman. I think that'd be me. Can we get this taken care of?" And you walked away. But then when I left there, I stayed there the whole time. It was good, and I met him at Journeys again, and I would never not stop, dude. Just the hospitality, the love I get in Suquamish. I got, James Old Coyote's my good brother out there, and Baron in him, and just the hospitality and the love I get there. One speed bump. All natives get a speed bump down the road, but that's my first interaction with Mr. Foresman, and it's been nothing but great since. I camped on their new property by the bathrooms there. I pulled in 2 days early to get that spot, but it looks great, and I keep like I'm rambling on, so I want to turn it over to Mr. Leonard Foresman.
You still have that noisy air compressor?
Oh, no, I got a quiet one at Harbor Freight. It's quiet. It's real quiet now.
I was thinking you might have made enough money that weekend to buy a new
Yeah, I did. It was killer.
All right, well, thanks to you and Daryl for the invite here, and it's really great to be hosted by the Lummi Nation. They've been, mentors of mine politically and culturally for a long time. So just like to welcome everybody here to the broadcast, and just really impressed with the young people and our elder, the songs and prayers that they've provided. And just say hello from here in Suquamish and the Port Madison Indian Reservation. And we've been, we've just finished 6 weeks of closing our government operations and our casino and most of our enterprises, just like many have around the nation and out here in the Pacific Northwest as well. So it's been a very, hard time for us economically, and we're here in the Pacific trying to do our best. But as it was said earlier, by the young man that Mr. Toby, that it's a sacrifice we need to make, and to hear a young person say that really makes me feel good, because I don't know if I could have done it as a young person. My 20s I was just like him. I was running all over the place, and it would have been hard for me to drop anchor and just stay home. But really proud of you folks, the young people of the of the Pacific Northwest and beyond, that have made a big sacrifice. A lot of them had a lot of plans this spring. Our high school kids and a lot of our college kids there had big plans for projects and graduation, and getting a lot of activities done in their life, and appreciate them making the sacrifice to protect our elders and protect our communities. In Suquamish, I'll start out with that. Like I said, we're working from home mainly. I've been working from home the whole time, and I'm fortunate to have the resources I needed here as far as the Wi-Fi and the equipment to be able to participate in a lot of the activities that are required to as a tribal leader. There's been a lot of intertribal activity on a national level, working with Congress, and then there's also a lot of the state and local activity, all surrounding the CARES Act. The CARES Act and COVID-19 pandemic issues have taken up 80% of my time. So the other 20% is on the other things that we have to do as well, and treaty rights protection and many of the other activities that we're involved in. So a lot of tribal leaders out there have been very, very busy. I've been seeing a lot of them on calls, and we've been trying to do our best to maintain our response to this in a responsible way, but also look out for those responsibilities we have to our people and to future generations. We've got Chief Kitsap Academy here as the only state compact school in Washington, and I believe in the nation. We're the first state compact school, and we of course closed that down when the district closed down, and they've just set a good example for distance learning and actually presented on a call Zoom meeting statewide to kind of demonstrate their program. So we've been really fortunate with their leadership, and then we've got a really robust emergency operations process and organization that our emergency director, Sherry May, who's a Suquamish tribal member, has been working on for years. And it's just been so awesome because she's taken this so seriously over the years, and all that hard work over the years is paying off for us. We're a little unique. We don't have a health clinic. We rely on local physicians, and we work with the Port Gamble Sklallam Health Clinic as well. So we've got a couple partnerships out there, and we're relying on the local health system to take care of our issues, but we haven't had any positive cases. So we've been fortunate here in Kitsap to avoid those. We have a checkerboard reservation. We're outnumbered about 10-1 here in Suquamish and Indianola because of our reservation being checkerboarded. But we've been fortunate that the county and the state here have been real, engaged in maintaining this. I guess we'll call it a kind of a semi-quarantine. Affiliated Tribes, Northwest Indians, which I've been president of for the last few years, been working real hard to try to keep our members informed. Our tribes are mainly in Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, but we have some from Montana, California, and Alaska too. And we've been having several calls at least once a week. Either the entire membership or our executive board of 7 members gets together to deal with issues regarding mostly the COVID CARES Act funding that's going through Treasury, and working with local state governments too. Of course, as a board president, I'm also vice president, Northwest area vice president for National Congress of American Indians as well. So I sit in on all of their board meetings as well. We've been pretty active with that, with quite a few calls that we've had to do, primarily around the CARES Act, of course. Once again, Congress put $8 billion in to support tribal governments throughout the nation to kind of, line up with what the states were getting. They were giving money to the states and local governments, so we insisted on money for the tribes as well. And Speaker Pelosi and Senator Schumer pushed really hard for that money to get into the budget. So we're really grateful for the work that we've done with that leadership, and we had some bipartisan support as well. So that's been helpful. As you may have heard, there's a lawsuit, Chehalis versus Mnuchin, who's the Secretary of Treasury, because there's a dispute about the Alaska Native corporations being eligible for the money. So when talking about this much money, there tends sometimes to be some conflict, and hopefully that'll get resolved here in court soon. So you've probably been reading a little bit about that, but I think it'll all sort itself out in the end. We're also talking a lot about The tribal economies too, and tribes are starting to talk about how do we get started again? How do we open up our enterprises, whether it's a casino or a hotel? Is it phased? Is it not? There's a lot of scenarios out there.
Yeah.
The state's starting to move a little bit, so we're going to start, kind of moving along as well. We aren't required to follow state law, but of course, we're part of the larger economy, so we need to kind of take the same kind of steps that they have as well. So, anyway, I've been hanging in here. Really, like to see everybody again out on either the powwow trail or on the canoe journey. We're really important, really big part of our hosting. So, really proud of the young people. Like I said, I do miss seeing our grandkids. We got 2 grandkids. One's 1 year old, one's 6 year old, but we're being good grandparents and, just keeping our distance. So that's been hard. I'm sure it's a lot of people around there doing the same thing, but it's best to be here for the long haul. Yeah. And just, everything's going to kind of change. I think we're going to have to adapt as we get out of this area. So it's going to be a new era. And I'll just end with reminding everybody to fill out your census form. So remember to get counted. Thank you.
There you go. Hey, Mr. Foresman, just looking back in, and I'm as a community member, a tribal member, that what could community members and tribal members be doing? I guess I want to ask this for my people and other people to support their council, because we hear from our council doing by staying home, and a lot of our people utilize our food bank and stuff, so they have a great system where that's set up to keep the 6 feet, our cars pulling in and letting out, and maybe some precautions that your people's, everybody's just working from home. I know you guys just had to cancel your renewal powwow. We had a lot of natives from across Indian country that I was seeing there bummed about it, but at the same time, they're fortunate that Suquamish has made the decision to, we can all gather at a later time, is what the elders would say. We got to take this serious. And so I guess just some stuff that a tribal member, community member, coming in, because I have 2 brothers up here in Lummi. My brother Travis and Alvin and them are on council, and I could see what they go through and see the weight on their shoulders, and our chairman Happy, and he was very happy and fortunate to come and share some songs with us the other night. I could tell that was medicine for him as well, and I also want to use this time to also encourage all of our leaders and our chairmen to always promote self-care. I guess that's what I wanted to say, and I wanted to hear from you. How could I support my brothers? I know that I try to text them and tell them I love them and tell them good job. And if you want to elaborate on that, what your guys' leaders do or your people are doing in your community.
Well, I think it's helpful to recognize your leadership's sacrifices that they make to make these tough decisions. That's always helpful. It's also helpful to, I think, if you have an idea or something, there's one thing when you're in tribal leadership, you're always trying to be super creative. You're always trying to, come up with a solution or innovation or something to try to get you through a challenge, and so if you've got creative ideas, and there's no bad ideas, and just kind of say, hey, I got an idea. What do you think about this? Because sometimes they come in and somebody will say, do this, and it's kind of put in a way of like a demand. We've got enough demands, but just by being in the position. Yeah. But to get ideas, because some of the best ideas that we get are from our people who are really out there, in the front lines, maybe experiences we aren't having, seeing something in there on the res that, they can say, God, maybe we could do this to be, creative, because that's one thing I've tried to do is I try to get as much information as I can from other people, because I can only, I come up with a good one once in a while, but it's always important to get that input from people who are out there, because we don't get out there as much because we're like, we're in meetings or hunkered down trying to take care of things.
What about for another thing before we let you go, maybe a little bit of thoughts? And I've also witnessed this, it's so phenomenal to watch Mr. Foresman with his work he does not only with his people but on a national level. And talking a little bit about Canoe Journey, you know, I see your family and your community and how tight knit they are. I got to watch you leave out of Tulalip in the morning and your guys' support boat and how everybody's on the same page and we're all in sync. And you know, it blew my mind because, you know, I'm a guy that likes to say it like it is, and I've never seen no other, you know, chairman. I might, except for Mr. Clattisby, you know, and he's been at it as long as you have. But you guys be up and at it first thing in the morning. Say the coolers or the canoes are on the beach, just load it up. Let's get out. You know, and everybody's in sync and following their chief. You know, we have a chief and leaders for a reason, and you know, we're dealing with that right now here in Lummi. A lot of people want to jam out and they want to have a get together, but at the same time, you know, in my eyes, we need to honor the work that Dr. Lane and the people in my community, and not only that across Indian country, but for myself and my community, that this time these guys have put in of hours and hours of making sure that, and if we were to go jam out, you know, I think that would kind of not be good on the work that they've been doing. So I don't know if you have any solutions for the journey or what you guys have been doing, and your thoughts on them postponing it this year.
Well, I feel that in one level it's sad because it's such an important annual event for the young people especially, but elders too. You know, we bring new people come in every year. So, but I think that on the other hand, you know, it's happening for a reason. You know, we gotta, you know, understand that we just aren't in control of everything. And isn't that part of our spirituality? That we rely on the Creator a lot for our guidance. So, you know, to take this as an opportunity to maybe take care of the things we aren't able to do because we're on journey every year. You know, the first one, I was there in 1989 down on the slab. We were just trying to get through the night and didn't really know what was ahead of us. We just knew we had to get through the night and get in the water the next day and pull 7 miles. That seemed like 700 miles to us in those days. And then Frank Brown walked out in the middle of the slab and said, I got an announcement to make. And he says, you got 4 years to get ready to go to Bella Bella. And I was like, oh my God, I was just trying to get through the night. Now we gotta get ready to go 600 miles. You know, how's that going to happen? I have a hard time getting over 7. So that might be an opportunity for us to really, you know, think about 2021 and how we're going to make that special. And just think of it as an opportunity to take a little reflection. There might be some work that needs to be done, some paddles that need to be made, and some canoes that need some repair. I know that we have that here in Suquamish. Our canoes got some miles on them, so they need some work. So we're gonna try to get that done as well. So you know, that's one thing. It's an opportunity in a different way. It's a lost opportunity, but there's maybe some other opportunities to gain from that. So that's how I suggest you move forward.
Right on. Hey, I appreciate you, Mr. Foresman. I thank you for coming on. And he was supposed to be here last week, and we always run into these technical difficulties, you know, especially on the res. I always tell a res never has good native. And I really hold my hands up to you, man, just as a brother, as a leader, you know, as a male role model. You know, that's what I like to promote, and especially in the Native American community on the reservation, that we always hold on to those male role models and grab on. And you know, I really look up to you as a leader, as myself, me as a young man in my family with my Uncle Daryl and them, and we're pushed in certain directions, and you know, we meet places, and I find myself trying to gravitate to learn, you know, and you taught me so much today and answered certain questions that I had regarding in that kind of stuff, because myself, you know, I'm not a political person, you know, and my grandfather also shared with me, you know, that could be your biggest strength, grandson, you know, that coming into something like that, and to understand, to talk with somebody that's on the front lines and working with all these, not tribes, but states, you know, and you represent us in such a great way. And we thank you for, you know, the gatherings that you have and the hospitality that you guys have. And, you know, the Suquamish people are taught well, and they always have big heart and open arms when I visit their country. And I do have a quiet air compressor, so I'm glad that the chairman knows that now. So when I pull in next time, there's Mr. Adams. He's got a quiet generator. Let's get him that spot again, because I think Ed just thinks I have a loud one now because he puts me by the old pizza shop now. No, it's a blast having you, though. I don't know if you have any closing words or just ahoy. I just wanted to thank you, and thank you from my heart. I thank you for the work that you do, and I really look up to you as a tribal leader. Like I said, sometimes we're pushed in certain directions, and I really look up to you, and I really follow on the work that you do, just to be there for support. You always know you have so many behind you, but I want you to know that, the work that you do doesn't go unnoticed with me and my Hilaire family here in the Lummi Nation. So, Osiem.
Aishka, and just really inspired by everybody on the call here and all the young people that are, making this effort. It's really important, and it's really valuable, and it's a great investment in our future as Indian people. Thank you.
Thank you. Right on. That was the Honorable Leonard Foresman. He's the chairman and the chairman of the Suquamish tribe, and he's the president of ATNI. Man, it was such a pleasure having him on and seeing the work that he does with his community and across Indian country. The work's phenomenal, ladies and gentlemen. See, I can kind of talk more calm now that I'm not talking to such a... Oh, wait, there he is again. No, I'm just teasing. You get in, you talk to those people, and those are the kind of people my uncles teach me. Those are the ones you want to gravitate. If you want to be like that person, you need to learn from them, and you need to gravitate towards them and take what they have to offer, and it's up to you to take it home and sort it out. So I want to move along in the program here. Next I got to hear a little bit about, before we joined on, with Emerson and Beverly and their daughter, Nayanyake. They come from the Navajo Nation. That's Emerson and Beverly Gorman, and I believe we're waiting for their show to pop up or their picture. I hope. Hey, Aunt Juanita, she's coming on. We have a lot of good viewers on. I'll try to get through some of these comments. Aunt Juanita says, hi, Leonard from David Jefferson at Lummi.
Hello, thank you, TJ.
Hey, there she is. I didn't know where he was at. I think she was doing a TikTok in the background. I could see her hair flying around and her arms moving. I wasn't sure. I'm just speculating, but I want to turn it over to you. You can introduce yourself, and we'll go along with the work you're doing. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions, and this is Nayanyake.
Nayanyake?
Nayanyake. There we go. Nayanyake.
Yat e shike do shidene she e Nayanyake Gorman yinshe. Shima do shije e Beverly and Emerson Gorman Wilya. I'm Dene and Cheyenne. I currently reside in Arizona on the Navajo Nation. My mother, Beverly, and Emerson are on the call also, if they can introduce themselves as well. I don't know.
Hello, this is Beverly.
Hello? Okay.
She must be on the road, huh?
So today I'll just talk a little bit. So today I'd like to acknowledge the spirits and the Creator and the holy beings for blessing us with another day and with this life. And I'd like to take a minute to acknowledge and remember our place. Hello?
Yes, can you hear us?
Yes.
Okay.
Beverly, can you and Dad introduce yourselves and just talk about the work that you are doing here on the Navajo Nation and how you are doing with the quarantine life?
Yes, my name is Beverly. We're currently living here in Steamboat, Arizona, and I am Batani clan with Cheyenne clan, and so they introduced herself. So we're gonna go ahead and just I'm gonna go ahead and tell. I Johns Hopkins University for 8 years, and here in Fort Smith, Arizona. Recently, we do preserve. We teach them survival and also learning how to live off the land, learning about their culture, their ceremonies, their herbs, how they can heal themselves mentally and physically. And we do a lot of art, and also we teach them how to hunt with their bows and their bow and arrows, trapping, tracking, a lot of things that we do and to help them here. And we do go through a lot of things here that we're kind of like trying to grasp, because our community, in our community we have what they call a chapter house, and sometimes because of the COVID-19 they have to close down the stores, the laundromats, the chapter houses. So we don't have access to water. We're living up on the ridge with no running water. So a lot of our people on the reservation don't have running water. So that's one of the things that's very important, I think. And here's Emerson. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
Hello, my name is Emerson Gorman. Ashka CM. I belong to a Bear Clan. We're descendant that I come from Ute tribe. That's where I come from. And I adopted into the Navajo Diné side. And my great grandma was a survivor of the Long Walk. I don't know if you all are familiar with that, but I'm part of that survivor, and I'm thankful that I could be able to express my feeling myself. And I want to say thank you to all of you that participate. And I'm here on the Navajo Nation. I do a lot for people that are sick, people that have all kinds of problems. I'm a traditional Navajo practitioner, and before I used to work with the Navajo Nation Historic Preservation Department, and I used to do a lot of ethnographic research and things like that, and then I retired from there. Now I'm at home, mostly being busy with different ceremonies. There's all different kinds of ceremonies that we do, like a lightning way or a wind way or medicine ways or herbal gatherings, those kind of things. And people come over for help, and I help them not just only on the Navajo Nation, but throughout various parts of the country. So I've been around Lummi, I've been around Susquehanna, and all the way up into Yukon, all the way into Alaska, different places like that. I've been to those areas just doing medicine healing work. So this disease that's coming around, this COVID-19, a lot of people are kind of like have their attention on me now, how I react to all that and how I can be able to be a support and help to them to heal in certain areas of so they could be able to continue on in life, all the way down to the youngest one, the babies. So that's what I'm doing today, and keeping myself busy. So thank you for having me be part of the broadcast here. Thank you.
Hey, I want to thank Emerson and Beverly for coming at us from Arizona, the Navajo Nation, Navajo Res. Thank you for the work that you're doing and advocacy work, and seeing that your people continue to follow their native ways and to follow what our ancestors have left us, whether that's gathering or hunting. And I want to turn it back over to your daughter, just on behalf of One from the Heart and Children of the Setting Sun Productions. I just want to thank Beverly and Emerson for the work that you two do for your people. And OCM, Haishka.
Okay.
I see him.
Hi. So just reiterating the beginning part of what my mom was saying. I know it was a little muffled. So my parents, they do youth camps for Preserve the Tradition Youth Camp. It's a nonprofit. And what we do is we teach a lot of our youth about our culture, our stories, our traditional teachings and survival skills. So they're working more on that and seeing what we can do this year with our youth, and what projects we would like them to do, and some other things that we would like to teach them, and some survival skills. So a lot of what we do is we do animal trapping, like how to capture animals. And we do a lot of tracking, herbal walks, bow making, arrowhead making. We also do bow drill and hand drill, which is the two various ways on how to build a fire without having a match or something to help you start a fire. And we like to go on a lot of hikes. And as far as the Navajo Nation, a lot of our tribal people don't have access to running water or electricity, and they live in remote areas. And a lot of our elders, it's very hard for them to gain those resources, and some of their young ones aren't able to help them get some of these resources. So I see a lot of them still out and about grabbing some essential stuff and some needs. As far as the Navajo Nation, we've reached about 1,500 positive cases. So we're all working hard on staying home, washing our hands, and practicing physical distancing, and just offering a lot of support to one another. I like to check in on my mother and father to see how they are doing and giving them updates on our end. But I just like to acknowledge each and every one of you and thank you for having us here and welcoming us onto this show, and everything that you guys are doing and your work that you are doing for our Native people. So I just like to share that with you guys. And for my parents, like I said, they're living on a pretty agricultural area, so it's very hard for them to gain some of those resources. So we're just checking in on them. And for the work that I'm doing here, I work for Johns Hopkins Center for American Indian Health. We have a website, we have a Facebook page, an Instagram, and a Twitter that you can gain access to for more information regarding the work that we are doing on the Navajo Nation and throughout the nation.
What was the handle they can look on that? Can you share that one more time so that some of the viewers could I see one of my aunties.
So it's called Johns Hopkins Center for American Indian Health. So there is a website and there is a Facebook page, a Twitter, and an Instagram that you can look up and see more updates on the work that we are doing for our community. And I can also send a link to each of you guys later on through email. As far as me, I'm just staying inside, doing quarantine, just going out for the essentials and just taking precautions for myself and my family and for everyone who is here on the nation. A lot of my worries rely on my elders and our people and how that affects our culture in terms of those teachings that can pass on along with them. So that's my concern. So I'm trying to do the best I can to help them.
So I seen if you can give me an idea, like you're on the Wind Rock Reservation. Can you? I don't know if you've been there. I don't know if I'm asking that a question, but where White River? How far is that from you? White River Reservation?
Okay, White River is about maybe 5 hours away. We also have a Johns Hopkins site there.
Yeah, I visited there this last summer.
Really?
It was probably one of the best trips, man. I got to go
Wow.
to White River and I got to see an elk, and I wore my White River, Arizona shirt the last show to give. I got a couple buddies still that I've met and keep in contact from White River, and it was such a, because I got to do home visits with them. And myself, I'm an advocate. I work for Lummi Victims of Crime, but I do a lot of service work with youth and stuff. So as a male advocate, they brought us out there and we went to go tour their suicide prevention program. And it was based out of the Johns Hopkins program they had there at the college. And man, we had tortillas for breakfast in the morning, and we were out there at sunrise, and we got to drive up in the mountains, and I got to see one elk, and they have the world's biggest elk there, though, from what I was told. But the thing that blew me away was that when we went to home visits, English was a second language. It was just it made me very proud to know that I have relatives across Indian country, across the United States that, are preserving and protecting their way. This English way is foreign to them. And you visit a little kid to an elder. I got to go to 3 home visits, and it was, I'll cherish that in my heart forever, to be able to watch that lady pull in and speak her native tongue, and they, communicate back with her. He basically said, no, he's in there on the couch. He don't want to talk to nobody. And she's like, yeah, that's what he told me. He don't want to talk to nobody right now. He's in there on the couch. You said all that? But that was big for me to visit Arizona. And it was a huge cultural shock to, we have strong cultural ties, real strong, for mine in Lummi language and Klummi and that's where I want to build up myself and my kids, just from by seeing there. That's what I say, is I hold that in my heart, to see this lady and the young kids is, having English as a second language is huge.
Yeah. Sometimes it's hard for me to understand what my parents are saying. I understand a little of the Navajo language and partially the English, so it's kind of difficult to go back and forth between the English and the Navajo, but I try my best. And as what my father was saying, he's a traditional practitioner with a traditional medicine man, and he does a lot of healing ceremonies and doctoring ceremonies to help a lot of people who come ill or go through a lot of problems in their life. And a lot of people are coming to him now for prayer and for insight and wisdom. And I'm just trying to check in on my father and give him the best support that I can, and my mother, because at this time their resources are low and a lot of people are wanting to come to them for help, and I just want them to stay safe as much as possible. And yeah, the reservation is really beautiful. It goes from like desert to
Yeah.
bunch of trees, a bunch of mountains, and then you see snow out of nowhere, and
Yeah.
it's crazy.
They say that here in Washington. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute because it'll change. But I felt the same thing going into, White River. It was like you see desert and cactus, and next you see big trees, and then there was still snow way up in the hills. And, I seen
Yeah.
it all within one ride. It was cool. I
That's
mean, I
awesome.
just appreciate the work you're doing. And I remember you were sharing with me earlier that yourself, you provided care packages to people in your community. And our community, I could make it around the res and go in the speed limit, probably 20 minutes or so, 30 minutes. But I understand out in Arizona, bigger reservations are maybe where Apache res where they're at. I'm not sure about Navajo, but Apache to go across the res, we were talking. They were saying, "Oh yeah, we can't do that today." And
Yeah. So one thing that I find interesting or about this job is there's no Google addresses where you can type it in and follow that address. It's like either 1.2 miles northeast of this store, and then they give the description of the home. So you really got to look at the details on the home. And some people know people, and they're like, oh, yeah, I know this person. They live this way. And one thing that I find really interesting and that I enjoy is a lot of the Navajos, they like to give directions with details. So they say, oh, you'll see like this gate and there's a res dog here and they're like this color. You'll see this many sheep and this kind of corral. So that's one thing I like about this job is it's quite an adventure when I go out there finding people.
right on. Well, I'm glad you're all holding up and doing well with you and your parents, Beverly and Gorman, and it's very, very easy on the heart, and we're very grateful to have people come on from different walks of life and different reservations and different climates and different dinner times. Hey, and that's all we're thinking about right now, dinner times. And the work that you do on your res, and you heard it like Chairman Foresman and knowing them said the work doesn't go unnoticed, and maybe that's not the front line and the hand-to-hand workers. It's very tough. We had a dental appointment with my son yesterday, and it was over iPad. They dropped the iPad off. They don't want you by the door. They put it on your doorstep. You pick it up, you show your kid's teeth, and you put it back on the doorstep, and then you go in and somebody will come grab it. I was saying, hey, I'm not responsible for that iPad once I leave it on the step now. Hey, isn't it? No,
That's
it's
really interesting.
yeah, and it's there. That's the clinics doing they're doing their work and making their efforts, because before all this, my boys were set to get braces, and they're pretty bummed. But we've been reassured by them that the program still sits, and we're able to do that over that and get it all figured out. Just the different things. Like today, I know at about 4:30 or 4 o'clock they did an honor parade. So any of the workers that still have to, like we have, the clinic is still has a quarantine setup station set where you can go and get checked, and they have a whole station with our fitness center and everything turned into that. And so there's a lot of people manning that, and they got a system and a program going to follow the proper steps to get people the help, but also follow the quarantine and the 6 feet distancing, and given the doctors are able to still help our people in that capacity where we're not having to deny them the health care. Or, like I said, our res isn't as big as other reses, so we're able to check on our elders and get them in there to get the quarantine checks. And I thank you for the work that you're doing over there in Navajo Nation, and I hope you stay well, and I hope keep in touch with Children of the Setting Sun Productions. And I don't know if you ever go over down to the other John Hopkins, but tell them all I said hi. That's a great program in itself too. I wish we can have that topic another time, I guess, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The work's
Okay.
phenomenal. I don't know if you have any closing words or if you wanted to share. I just wanted to thank you for the work that you do, OCM.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to thank each and every one of you for inviting me on to this meeting and this discussion. I just like to take a second to remember all of our elders and all those beings that we exist, and sending good blessings and prayers that way, and to each and every one of our Native people and the people nationwide and worldwide. Um, Sending good things your way, and hopefully everything results in a good way, and stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you
Aishka.
very much. Once again, I want to thank her. She's coming from Navajo Nation. That looks like that's her. She's from White Rock, or that's where she is, and her parents are about an hour away in Steamboat. So it's very
We're
good to hear from her.
We're from Steamboat. I currently reside in Winter Rock, and they still live in Steamboat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, I hope they're doing
Thank you.
good, and we send them good love and good blessings, and we hope that you all stay safe and healthy out there as we all get through this. So, OCM.
Thank you.
At this time, I do want to thank everybody for joining us. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Man, we got Aunt Juanita, my dad Carrie, my cousin Tani following the live. I'll give you a few minutes, Tani, to give me a thumbs up, but look at what I'm rocking. At Gramps thing. My nephews. Coda. DJ. Charboy. Get that kid a donut. And Josh. Those are my nephews. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. We're going to move along. I got my brother Bo. He is part of the family here, has a lot of good works that he's done with Children of the Setting Sun Productions himself, and he continues to work hard all the way from Cheyenne River. I want to turn it over to him, let him introduce himself and maybe some of the work he's been doing. And OCM, Bo.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Let's see, can you hear me all right?
Hold on, not too well. I can hear you perfectly, bro. But this is also the guy that made my fireworks show. So yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see you, TJ. I'm Bo Garrow. I'm from the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. We're located in the middle of South Dakota. I lived in Lummi. My wife is Lummi, as well as First Nations Hooey from Vancouver Island. I want to thank everybody for the support with One from the Heart. It means a lot. We want to bring you guys some entertainment as well as some value to your front door, to your home, through your phone. But what I do at Children of the Setting Sun is I'm the creative director. I get to do all the visual stuff, I guess you could say, make it look pretty. Some people like to say. And I guess I have my 3 lovely children and my wife that are sitting playing Monopoly over here in the living room while I'm sitting on here giving everybody an update coming from Cheyenne River. We just got done, let's just say, with the winter season. It seems like it just snowed last week. This week it's been a little bit warm, but it's kind of been snow, sun, snow, sun. So we got a lot of mud, got a lot of, dirty cars. And you can't have white shoes here, let's just say. But dealing with the COVID, there's a lot of different reservations have come up with a lot of different ideas. For Cheyenne River, just kind of watching everything kind of happen. We're blessed not to have a case yet as far as our population. We have about 4,200 square miles of reservation. And that extends from the west of the river. So the Missouri River split South Dakota in half. we're on the west side of the Missouri.
Extends
And we have about like 8,000 people that live within that 4,200 square miles. So what they're kind of been telling us is we kind of watch like the South Dakota, the governor, and she addresses every day the people dealing and the numbers. And so recently, as was it the pork plant that was down in the southeastern corner of South Dakota had that huge outbreak, and so they've been dealing with that down there, and we have to travel about 2.5 hours or an hour, about 90 miles, a little over 90 miles to get to the nearest Walmart or Sam's Club or big kind of chain grocery store. So it's been a little bit of a hassle because we have to travel that far, and we have our own local kind of grocery store in town, but as far as meeting the need, they kind of do, but at the same time the rules every day seem to get a little bit more and more, I guess, stricter. So now you have to walk in with a mask. There's 10 people at a time. Let's see, there's a security guard out front. And
so you can relate. There's a cove here. We got a cove, and how far is my closest Walmart? Man, I make it 15, 20 minutes. You know that from here, from the Proj. You said yours is right. How far? You have a store like a cove where you're at then? Convenience store?
Yeah, it's similar like that. It's called the Lakota Thrifty Mart. What they do there is it's like a...
Sounds like a res store.
Yeah, it's a reservation. It's not reservation owned, I don't believe. But yeah, they supply a lot of goods, but it's a lot of frozen goods.
Yeah. Have you seen the new Cove Marketplace?
No, I haven't.
Oh man. So Tim Blue Jr., he's worked really good and really hard to make sure his prices match the ones in town. So just like, I mean, I like to say it like it is, like you heard me say. So I remember when we were in the modular and I was paying $6-7 for a Hungry Man, dude. Like, come on. Now I can go to the Cove and get me a Boathouse burger and a fry, and we're under $5. They're really working.
Oh, see.
Rain gear, the parts, and I know he's having trouble with keeping it stocked. That's what I was asking, and I'm trying to prevent my mom from going to town, and she wants to help out her people, but she needs to find a reason to go to Walmart every day. Like, come on, Mom.
Yeah. So once they started, it was kind of like that at the beginning for us. A lot of the things, it was kind of like this huge scare. COVID's coming, so you better stock up, and there was initial stock up of people going out and buying a lot of stuff. So there wasn't a lot of stuff on the shelves. Now it's kind of tapered off, but the restrictions are getting a little tighter. They just in place today. You have to apply for a travel permit just to get off the reservation, or travel through the reservation if you're a non-resident.
How do you feel about that now? Because that's what I've heard that proposed to people here. Though we're such smaller, right? But we have way more cases, and we have way more traffic. I guarantee you that. Like that sounds huge to what you said. I hope any of our leaders are watching this, that it could be considered. It doesn't have to be done, but to be considered that you should be given reason why you're leaving. Because other than that, you should be at home, right?
Yeah. So what they're doing is they're trying to implement that on the major roads, and I know they're going out and they're deputizing a lot of. Not kids, but like people that want jobs, so that they can use them for these checkpoints. Because there's a lot of dirt roads that lead outside of the reservation.
Yeah. That
they're trying to kind of block those in a way. But a lot of the things that are coming in are like the essential goods and stuff like that. They have like there's like a flow chart depending on whether or not you're going to be allowed in or not. So if you have an out-of-state plate, just like I do, but I have a tribal ID, so they let me in. But if you have an out-of-state plate, they tell you to go around the reservation. And like I said, it's 4,200 square miles, so it's a pretty big chunk that you got to go drive around. So
They see your Washington plates, they're gonna say, "Whoa, go way around, go turn around." No, I'm just teasing.
no, they do. They always ask, and then they're always like, "Oh, it's just you, Bo." So so it's a good thing I got my relatives down there. Eh?
Think about that though. That's what I worry about. We'd be doing checkpoints, and I'd be running into my uncle or something. My uncle goes, "Get out of the way, nephew. Get out of the way. I gotta go to the store." And how do we enforce those to where they ain't gonna go through the field like you're saying? We got farm fields, just like you got fields, but there's some uncles I can't say no to. I know that, and aunties. Shoot, I'd probably move it quick if I seen a couple of my aunties. Get it out of the way. Get it out of the way. Oh.
Yeah. So we've gotten, there's been a lot of different types of reactions actually. So we live a lot with a lot of non-natives that live on the reservation, and they do ranching and farming, and they provide a lot of services for around here, and a lot of great people. And a lot of it's hard. So a lot of them, I hear about chases. Like some people are like, well, I don't need to check in with you. I'm just going to go through. So they'll just drive through. I think it was the other night, they had to spike some guy's tires.
Jeez.
Just
yeah.
just because, he had just wanted to go through and didn't think he had to. So, I mean, there's some positive things, and there's also some negative things. And,
I just wrote that down. Get tire poppers in case uncles. No.
do those airless tires. That's for sure.
Spike trip. Oh well. No.
But it's interesting because in 2010, the last census, our reservation was considered the poorest in the country, in the nation, poorest county in the nation. Already being poor, and then you get hit with this types of stipulations in our economy is not already any strong anyways. So there's a lot of impact, especially for the farmers and ranchers around here. That's the main thing that's kind of hitting them is they have to supply a service, and they have to supply food to the rest of the country, and they're having some of these restrictions put upon them, and so they're missing out on a lot of their chunk of money. But the tribal members themselves, we're told to stay inside and do all the necessary things. I think if we do there's like a set criteria that our chairman Harold Frazier kind of set out. If we do get a case of COVID, then it kind of will have a curfew, just like the Navajo Nation and stuff like that. But we, praise God, we haven't had one yet. We've had tests, but everybody's come up negative for it. But there's a lot of different negative aspects of it too. Let's see, you just kind of hear around, I live in a town with 500 people, but they're you can also hear the rest of what the reservation's going through the grapevine, right?
Yeah.
Through all your relatives. So I think the other, like last week or somebody, there was a youth suicide, and due to like not being able to find a job, I believe. And then there was I guess a lot of the youth, they're not taking it seriously, the lockdown or the restrictions. So there was a lot of partying and things like that are going on, typical, well, we don't know what else to do. There's nothing else to do on the reservation. So, might as well make the best of it in their mind, which could be a negative thing. And the schools, they shut down, and, there's a lot of, I worked at one of the school up here in town, and I've met a lot. I used to be a mentor out in Lummi too. I worked at the Youth Academy, and I worked at CICHIN, dealing with Native American youth and, with substance abuse and not having a place to stay. And I got to be a mentor to them. And so working up here at the school, I've been able to mentor some of these kids. And the other day, 3 of them were like, you want to go running? And I was kind of like, I don't know. I haven't been running in a while, but, and we go every day, for the last week. And they pushed me to do a little bit better for myself, I guess, during this time, because I guess I could get stuck behind the computer all day, doing all the CSSP stuff, and that can be a little bit crazy sometimes. especially that, and then spending time with my own family. I think that's the most thing that I've done is, just learning and growing with them and showing them different things that we can do outside. And also getting dubs on Fortnite and Call of Duty.
That's
You gotta do
essential.
what you gotta
That's
do.
essential, man. I do that every morning. I tell my mom that we're claiming back the native land on Fortnite. She goes, "Get off your game." Jeez. No, I appreciate the work you do, Bo, man. That's huge. Because just to get an idea of where you're coming from and the climate or the landscape, and I've got to make it out to Rosebud and go from Rosebud up to Turtle Mountain and visit reservations all the way up, and it was so I know like the landscape you're talking about, the dirty cars and after the snow. And I've been following Northern Cree, and up in Alberta they still got snow on the ground and stuff. I couldn't even only imagine that. It's like a lot of these plains reses are just getting over their winter season, isn't it?
Yeah, we are, and hopefully this is starting to rain now. And it's kind of nice. It's I've been living in Washington and being able to have the rain all the time, and then coming here, being able to smell the rain is different. People say it smells like dirt, but it's refreshing. Kind of grow up seeing those things. Yeah, taking triggers those memories that are always good, especially in this time.
Right on. Well, I hope you and the family are holding up good there. And like I said, I appreciate the work, and I hope you guys are all staying safe and just really reminding us and recognizing us, especially here in the Lummi Nation or in the Pacific Northwest, how easy we do have it to be able to drive to your nearest convenience store, but to always remember to follow those rules when you do go to that store, because some of us do need to plan a trip and get supplies until next payday, because that's $40-50 to fill the tank and go back, and then to have the frozen food run out, or the stock coming out of stock on the shelves. We're very fortunate to be able to go there, as our relatives have to plan a trip out of it, leave early in the morning and make sure their food's still frozen on the way home. And the health care, you heard our relative from Navajo, and they're in Apache Res. I know they have one hospital, and they come from miles. It's a day trip if you need to go to the hospital or the clinic where they're at. So I hope you guys are all holding up out there, Bo and Cheyenne River, and it's good to hear from you and see you. I hear you on these meetings, but it's also good to have a little conversation, and hope the fam's doing good. And I hope they will leave. I honestly hope they'll leave you alone later so you get some dubs on Fortnite. That's all I pray for when I'm at home with my kids. Like, can't you see him in a game? Oh well.
Right. Quit poking me on the shoulder. I think it's that. Yeah, I think I was listening. Oh, and our IHS here is, we have one huge hospital. So, I mean, we all have to travel to get to there, but at the end of the day, we got an ER there and stuff like that. So it's pretty nice.
Right on.
But we also have the old folks home there too, and I think they've been keeping a watchful eye out on those guys. And I have a cousin out there too that's kind of out there in Rapid City, and she's doing a lot of elders packages and stuff like that. So she'll take a lot of the goods to them, and and they bring food around here too, like cold food, and they'll like hand it out, and fill up your freezers. And even if you don't have money, especially around here, there's not a lot of that. So
right on. Well, it's good hearing from you, man. I think we're gonna move on to Gene.
Oh, one thing.
There you go.
One thing before I go is, to be the creative director, we always want you to like, subscribe, and hit that little notification bell up here, so next time we do a live stream that you're able to get it. And,
see, you need to text that to me, bro. I tried to say, hey, I like it up. I should be saying that 10 times a show at least, and then like it up, share it up.
Right. We really appreciate your guys' views and your guys' comments below, because if it weren't for you guys, we wouldn't be able to come up with some of these ideas that we're able to share with you. So my hands go up to you, being from my wife being from Lummi and First Nations, as a Lakota would say, Pilamia, and also Tukoshke Unire. which should say like, we'll see you soon.
We'll see him. Right on, Brother Bo, man. That's huge. Good to hear from the brother and his family. I hope you and Jerry are doing good out there in Cheyenne River. And, man, that's huge. What you heard him said. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. So before we move on, we have 20 viewers. I want to see 20 notifications for a follow. Hey, isn't it? We're going to start demanding follows here. Can you hit that notification right up? I don't know. He said one corner, but I'm sure you guys can find it. Like you hear, the work that we do, it's doesn't go unnoticed with our viewers and the people comment. And like my dad Kerry commented earlier, and he said, as long as you do what our leaders asked, it wasn't told to us, it wasn't demanded to us that we do this, it was asked, and if a leader asks you, they're obviously put there for a reason, and their people see them as a leader. And if a leader asks you to do something, regardless of what family, who they come from, where they come from, you respect your leader, and I know it takes a lot to earn somebody's respect and to keep that, but at the same time, with what we're going on, that's what we ask from everybody, just that we all get on the same canoe in the same direction, and hope that we could all support and honor our leaders as they have to make these tough decisions, and our frontline workers. But I want to move along on the agenda. I know my Uncle Gene looked like he took about 3 naps. He went through a drive-through, and I don't know, he ate with some chopsticks. It looked like he was trying to catch a fly with your chopsticks there, Uncle, like Karate Kid. Walks on, and I was like, hey, man, where do I find chopsticks here? I got a couple pins. I was trying it on the side. You look like a pro, though. No, at this time, though, I want to turn it over to my uncle, let him just share about what he's been up to, and, I'll turn it over to him at this time. Mr. Gene Harry.
CM, Steven, Heichka, Leonard, Oseid, Iron, Swallow, and Kunsti, Lala Mislitin, Slicket, Steven, Elmer, Emerson, Bev, Heichka, Tinsiais, Lala Mislitin, Slicket, and Sweatin, Mana, Oseid, Iron, Siais, Bo, Steven, I couldn't see Lumnama. First, I'm going to say thank you for previous speakers, Leonard. A good leader, a good teacher, a good chief shows the people what to do. And Leonard, going to your canoe journeys and your canoe paddlers, as soon as you just give the advice, when you give advice and you act upon it, your crew and all your people will follow. And congratulations on your journeys. It is a great healing, that paddling. It's a great healing. A lot of times, so you ask why I never participate. I've been paddling most of my life in canoes, whether it's racing or just casual. But I did go on a few journeys, and oh man, it was awesome to hear the songs. Awesome to hear the groups together, unite as one, united together like this, nation to nation. We could only do the healing for our children and grandchildren. I give credit to you for showing your paddlers how to do it and acting upon it, because they follow, and a great follower is going to be a good nation. And that's what I heard from our grandparents. Is I can't tell you what to do, but I'll show you. And then the grandparents showed us how to be. And a granduncle showed me how to paddle. My grandaunt made it sure that there was a physical participation in paddling. Turn to Emerson and Beverly. Wow, thank you for taking care of the youth in that manner, teaching them. It is a great medicine just to be able to gather the young people and show them what you're doing, is showing them how to do things the way it was, and how it was. It wasn't hard. It was the way of life. And the Creator, you got to look at this sickness that's around. It was the way of life. That's COVID-19. It's kind of brought us back in time how the ancestors were family oriented, and that's what brought this sickness, is that now we're family oriented. And it is beautiful to hear the families get together, and then somebody said it's better to not see our relatives for 6 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7, 8 months, instead of not seeing them at all. To stay 6 feet apart, not 6 feet under. And some of the people are listening with their heart, and there are some who don't listen, but we got to have prayers for them. One time I heard my grandpa talk about that I was shisha-less, stubborn. So he said, I was taught a lesson. I wasn't allowed to get on the canoe until I learned how to listen. And I hated sitting on the beach watching the canoes go out. And I told my grandma, we're reflecting back on showing respect to the ladies, the givers of life. And my great grandfather always said, if it wasn't for the women, we wouldn't be here. And then we have, in all the ceremonies, words from my grandpa. I said, when we do ceremony and we speak in a longhouse, we're just voices for the people to help them in their life, to show recognition, and to take care of the family's feelings that we're asked to speak on their behalf. And all the things that we've done in great ceremonies is honoring where we come from. When the ceremony starts, the blanket is wrapped around you, that it comes from the heart, it comes from the old people. And the bandana is tied upon you, that all the good things are there. So when the ceremony starts, whether you're the spokesperson, whether you're the witness, or whether you're the helper of the people, blanket wrapping is so important. It's the ancestors wrapped around your shoulders. It's the ancestors' mind that you're speaking for. And all our ceremonies meant something very special. Right from the day of birth, there was a ceremony. The first breath, you first become a grandma. There was a teaching that the first grandchild belongs to the grandparents to give more teaching. And then so on and so on. Aunties and uncles were so valuable. And I said, when we lived in a longhouse, we knew how to be community oriented. We knew how to take care of the ones that couldn't take care of themselves. And that was priority of our ancestors. And the story goes, one guy says, we're the clam digger. What is a community without the weak? Which the weak makes the strong stronger to be able to help the weak. And that's what I see in a beautiful nation, Lummi Nation. Our relatives there is always caring. And through this modern technology, I really used to say, we don't need to use this stuff. But now that we're isolated, I'm going to say thank you for all the ones that spoke. Beautiful words from Leonard, beautiful words from Emerson Bev, the daughter. TJ, you're awesome to keep us in control. Bo, thank you for the goodness of your heart. It's good to hear you, good to see you. And I'm going to say, really appreciate what you do. And I say thank you to the young people, because I wished we could all have our own language as we get into this modern world, that as somebody said that English was their second language. And then we'll just leave it and then grasp and start singing our own songs. Singing our own songs meant so much. That was the strongest and the first prayer from the Creator. And that's what's missing with a lot of the school systems. A lot of the educational programs, they eliminated the spirituality or a little bit of coming of Christianity, whatever, and that was left right out, and it's coming back strong now with all the songs and all the prayers. Now the Creator is going to hear us when we unite in nation to nation, from border to border, from everywhere. That all our songs are coming through, and He hears them. He's not deaf about what's happening. He's just making sure that we're going to be strong enough. Are we obedient to isolate ourselves, not to be imprisoned, but isolate ourselves to get nation strong. So I'm really grateful for everyone that came and spoke, and I'm so happy that Daryl keeps bringing in all these beautiful people to come and speak, because wow, in isolation, I learned how to knit all over again. I learned how to cook. I learned how to wash clothes. I used to drop my laundry off at the drop-in laundry and pick it up after work. Now I have to wash my own clothes, and it's beautiful. It's not work. If our ancestors had to go down the river and wash their clothes and hang it out in the sun to dry, and wow, it's beautiful. We learned how would you say, discipline our well-being to remember how our ancestors worked hard and make things comfortable. I have a great grandchild coming soon. Oh, my heart is just happy. My grandson is well behaved. He listens to his grandparents, listens to his mom and dad. He says, all the teachings. He listens to stories, and he says one time he said, Grandpa, I love you. I love all my grandparents, my mom and dad, all my aunties and uncles. I love my puppy so much. Oh, he says, the only little problem I have is my little sister. And that was kind of like, whoa, my sister's bossing him around, and he always tried to listen to all that people, aunts and uncles, respect ladies. Why? How could I respect her? She's too bossy. Now they get along really, really well. She's proud she's going to be an auntie. That's beautiful part there. The celebration of life, new comings, new beginnings. And that's going to be the strongest medicine from everybody I hear, that my grandchild is going to be safe. My great-grandchild is going to be safe through all your prayers. I give gratitude to Daryl to keep us in line. And Anita, thank you. Right in the background, always hidden away, making sure everything's comfortable, making sure everything is voiced in a good way. And I really am grateful to be able to be one from the heart to all of you. And you're all in my prayers from the days that are coming, that we're only going to get stronger. Hi, all my relations. Hi, Chika.
I had to learn how to use the washing machine today too, Uncle. It was a couple days ago, man. I seen my clothes wasn't getting washed, and I wasn't at work, so I went in there and stood at it for about 5 minutes, and there was only one knob, and then I could tell that was a play button. It was a play and pause button. I'm like, does this thing don't have a radio on it, does it? And I didn't want to ask my girl, because I would have gotten in trouble asking that kind of dumb question. So I just kind of called my son in that I was always washing his clothes, and was like, man, help me do it. And he come in and hit a button and turned out and walked out. And wait a minute, there's no detergent. And he goes, it's automatic, Dad, just come back in a half hour. I'm like, wow. My socks sat there and smelled that long. I could have washed my socks a week ago. No, but I see that you and your mate's doing good, Uncle, and I hope you guys are holding up, and I really appreciate the work that in the teachings that you do for not only your people, but all of us across Indian country. A big, huge mentor to me, as you all know. I mean, 2 years ago, I wasn't up speaking or emceeing, and, now I'm emceeing all these events and getting, and it's a huge humbling experience, but my uncle has never, ever stopped teaching me. I had to call him on a speaker down there at my Uncle Sam's home, and before he got up and talked, he gave me a couple tips about what I could work on in a good uncle way, come up and was, reiterate what your last speakers went about, Neff, you know, and I always do that now, Uncle. Every time I talk to
Yep.
those past speakers, I always like want to go about and remember what they've talked about, just to, you know, a learning experience. And William Toby Jefferson, that's one of my dads. He said hi to you too. He says, hi, Shka, Uncle. Carrie Jefferson as well. He said, good words.
Yeah.
We hope everybody's doing good. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. I wanted to call on my cousin Noah. I'm going to have you do a closing after my cousin sings a song there, Uncle. So I'm going to have Noah come on and share a song, and then I'll go back to my uncle for another closing. But just to go over a little bit about what we had today, this is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Like Bo said, we appreciate anybody and everybody that likes to share it, likes to hit the notification button. Any and every time Children of the Setting Sun goes live, you can get a notification on your Facebook. So if you want to follow us in that way and like this page, share this page, we just want to continue to spread the love, the awareness, continue to give our people the tools and the resources through social media, through different ways that we communicate to ensure that our people across Indian country are getting the love, getting the prayers, and getting the songs, and getting the teachings. And that's huge. Like what my dad Kerry said, you know, it's easy to honor your leaders, and that's by doing as they ask. You know, they never told you to stay home. They've asked you to stay home. And as your leaders, you know, you make it sit there and say, oh, they're not my leader, you know. Well, hell, they're the leader of the great Lummi Nation. So we're going to do, that's the best way to honor our leaders, you know, to stay home and stay quarantined and check on your elders the best way you know how. So I want to turn it over to my cousin Noah. He's been sitting there patient. I seen he was playing on his phone earlier, just like Bo saying, Fortniting it out. He was headlocking Maine on the Royal Rumble right there in the living room. That's what these young bucks are. I remember I used to set up my living room, freaking had WrestleMania over at my auntie Loretta's and Bill's, and Bubba had all the wrestling buddies. He always had to be Ultimate Warrior coming. Yeah, but me and Reeve got him though. Hey. I want to turn it over to my cousin Noah Toby at this time. Let him share another song before we end the night. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Osia.
Okay. First of all, I also want to thank all the speakers that spoke today. I also want to thank TJ for inviting me and my brother to sing. And the next song we're going to share is composed by Joe Brady. It's called Double Lead. This is how it goes.
Since I couldn't get Joe.
Mexico. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you, cousin. I'll talk to you later. See you at the cove. Getting gas, I guess. See. Once again, this is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. I want to encourage one and all to like the video, share the video, give us a follow on Facebook. That really means a lot and helps. You're really supporting the work that we do here to get the work out, so the message out, the good love and the good feelings. We're just finishing up here tonight, so if you wanted to go back, we have a great lineup of people that came on and talked tonight. The topic tonight was checking in across Indian country. We wanted to check with our relatives across Indian country, see how they're doing, how they're holding up. We had the Honorable President Foresman / Chairman Foresman. He came on at a Suquamish tribe there and shared the work he's doing, not only on a local level on the tribe, but a guy that wears a hat like that. He oversees, I was told, 5 different states with Montana, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, and with all of those states and Alaska. He had talked about Alaska coming in and the resources that were brought together by the government and the state and the work they're doing to get that. So he said you can look that up on his page, the ATNI page, and we're very thankful for Beverly and Emerson and Nayanyake. She's unmuted right now. Nayanyake. Gosh, man, I was trying to get it by the end of the night, guys. I even have it written down so that I could try to get it like when I do basketball games. I'm pretty good with trying to get somebody's name down with all the basketball. But as we leave here today, this is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. I have my Uncle Gene Harry. We're going to close in our way, the Illumination way, with a closing prayer, song, whatever he feels on his heart. It's always good to hear my uncle share his gift with his songs and his prayers. And so we are grateful that you were all here to come in and tune with us. As you heard it say, Bo said it, share it up, like it up, follow us. You can turn the notifications on. So at this time, I want to turn it over to my Uncle Gene with a closing.
Hajka. I want to thank everyone for those beautiful words. Thank you. We call it Tawalakap. There's Mr. Speaker, TJ. Awesome job, nephew. I said, my wife said, we haven't been sitting in a parking lot since we were kids. Now here we are up at age and we're still sitting in a parking lot. So wow, what a great, great story that we heard from nation to nation, how to help one another, and how going back in time. So now I'm going to ask the Creator to put a blessing on the frontline workers, that we're still working hard to help the people. Have a prayer for the elders, that they continue on being strong. Have a prayer for the youth that's still taking baby steps to be learning how to be in life. And most of all, worried about the ones that are still coming. And that was the strength of our ancestors, is worried about the ones that are still coming. And that's the medicine that I hear today. Blessing for each and every one. Oy, 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 Archcot Sicilium, the Home Squares, the E2 Seward, the Scott Stens to Mockney, Flacket to Squaw, the so Tusset to Squallowans to E, could see nuts out the knee to saw Squallowans. Archcot can see Tappy is a cape to Naquail. It a near swallop, oh, the eat its out into Naquail. Great deal of thanks to each and every one spoke, and everyone that's out there listening. Well, thank you for being here, allowing us into your living rooms to talk about the goodness of life and the goodness of relationship. And today I learned that we now accept the modern technology where we can walk hand in hand to help each other. Long distance brings us closer. This new technology is awesome. I hold my hands up to each and every one, children of the setting sun. And Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Wonderful
Uncle.
job. Slalom stay, Nemux Nas Mens, Age Manas, A.T. Sanders Free, Slalom stay.
Man, thank you, Uncle. This is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Man, I'm just blown head again with a lot of great speakers tonight. I got a lot of stuff in my treasure chest. Next Monday, Sherman Alexie and Maori Tribe are coming on. You don't want to miss that. I grew up listening to Sherman Alexie. So this is One from the Heart, brought to you by Children of the Setting Sun Productions. Please like it, share it, follow us, give us the notifications, and we look forward to seeing you on Monday with Sherman Alexie, OCM.